Hi, hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Margo and today we are going to color B from BTS. I always start with base colors first of all. I usually just color every piece and only then would move to shading and highlighting. I spent quite some time for choosing the right skin tone for B. I usually would choose just a color that kind of matches or like closer to the one that I want to use, and then would just play around with hue. So now you can see that I stopped on this particular tone, but I'm pretty sure I would change it a bit later, I guess to a bit maybe dark shade. The challenge was that I didn't really want to use kind of like a bit dirty gray tone to the skin. So I wanted to have a saturated tone, but at the same time obviously closer to the color that he has, the skin tone. And with jeans actually it was quite interesting because I firstly chose this color, like kind of like a classic dark blue color, then I changed it to this one closer to black, but later on you will see that I changed it again to more of gray color, I'd say, which is kind of closer to the reference that you can see on the screen as well. Funny, but actually I was recording the whole process fully, just like with my hands, but it didn't end up recording well, so I was actually so happy that at least I had the screen recording as well, just in case. And you will see that some parts were not recorded, but the main things they're here. I quite enjoy drawing hair, but I wouldn't say that I spend a lot of time on coloring it. I know that some artists just really love to do detailed drawings and detailed strokes of hair. I can't say that I don't enjoy it, but it's kind of also not exactly in my style of art. I do like to draw some little pieces of hair, little strokes, but I can't say that I do lots of details for shading and highlighting, because to me my style is kind of like semi-realism. It's kind of not exactly cartoonish style, but not fully obviously realistic one. I started my art journey with realistic portraits. I think it's kind of common for artists. I started with watercolors, and then I moved to digital art, did some realistic portraits as well. You can see that skin color again changed quite dramatically. I think I stayed with this shade, and I know that it looks a bit weird now, but it will make sense once I will be done with the shading and highlighting. So yeah, I did a bit of digital portraits for some time, and then I kind of moved to cartoonish style, more cartoonish style, clear line art. Honestly, my art style has changed so much during like few years of my experience with digital art. I just always kind of like trying to find the style that I'm closer to, and I preferred clean line art for some time, but I'm kind of trying to make it more messy, a bit, at least a bit messy this time. And I'm quite satisfied with my style, but it's always like this. Like I would feel like, okay, I finally found it, and then after some time I would realize that I want something else. So it's kind of like, it's the art style always develops once you go. I think it also because the more you draw, the more you learn as well. Like it's a constant process. So your art style all just develops just like your skills. Highlights, I kind of like bright highlights. but I didn't want to obviously overdo it as well, otherwise it would just look kind of weird and not really natural. So I think I changed a bit of capacity a bit later. With eyes, I didn't really do much. I just add a bit of highlight, so even when it's not closed up, you can see still just a bit of little dots of the light. And I think I already said it in another video of mine that I really enjoy coloring clothes. I don't know, it's just kind of like a fun thing, because with the skin it's always a bit challenging for me, because you just really need to, I mean, you don't really have to, but I do feel a pressure to make it right, and I don't feel that free when I shade skin tones, when I shade add shading to the clothes, because there I do use the reference, but I kind of still don't feel pressure to make exact same shading, for example. It's also, I guess, because of the lack of maybe my knowledge of shading. I definitely know that I need to learn more about it, about the light, where the light comes and all of it. We all know about it, right? But I do use it sometimes, like to realize where the light is coming. So it's kind of easier, to be honest. Like you would think that it's too much of work, and it's kind of like, at least that's how I felt, like I was kind of lazy to do it. But honestly, once you do it, it kind of makes easier to understand where the light and where the shade will be. Obviously, when you are using a reference, it's easier, but I still try to analyze the photo to understand why the light and the shade is exactly there. And I do recommend you to do the same thing, because that's how you basically can learn as well. Honestly, I liked this highlighting process so much, but I feel like you can also see that it's not exactly the texture of jeans, so I did change the capacity of the highlights later, but kind of thinking to make another piece with more shiny version of a jacket. Not this particular jacket, but I do want to use this texture once again. And yeah, as you can see, I added the pattern to his jacket, but it wasn't recorded, unfortunately, so I'm really sorry about it. It was kind of like I was really upset about it. And as well as the bag, I basically drew just like one pattern, and then we just copy paste it, and it was quite a interesting process, because at first I was like, okay, how I'm going to do that? And I was looking at the pattern for quite some time, and I wasn't sure if I would be able to make it kind of similar. But honestly, like the advantage of having kind of like a cartoonish style still, it's fine to make it messy and just close to what you see in the real photo, but not to do it like super realistic. It kind of works in the end, I feel like. Hopefully you can agree with me. So I'm just adding a bit of letters here and working on some background. Honestly, background is something that I've been struggling for a while, like pretty much my whole journey of art, because I was constantly just concentrating on the character design, because I started with the portraits. I didn't really pay attention to the backgrounds at all, because they were kind of like close portraits. And then when I moved to digital art, again, I was just concentrating on making the anatomy right and just the characters right. So I didn't really care much about backgrounds, but it does look empty without it, unfortunately. I'm quite satisfied with this one, but I still do want to make more complicated backgrounds. I just can't really find anything that would match my style as well, because I don't mind to do like kind of background that kind of you can see from the distance, so not like a very clear background, but it doesn't really suit to my style. I figured it out. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found this process and little child of mine helpful. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day or evening. Stay strong and let the light fill your heart. Bye.